The Digital Divide: A Tale of Two Sides by Cesar Lascano. What is the digital divide? It is the inequality between two groups, socioeconomic or demographic, in terms of access to, use of, or knowledge to computers, the internet, and information and communication technology in general. According to a Gallup poll, which conducted a survey of 148 countries, as of 2011, only 32% of the world reported having internet access at home. This will be up from 21% in 2007, but far lower than what most people would think. Broadly speaking, the difference is not necessarily determined by the access to the internet. However, with regards to the internet, the access is only one aspect. Other such factors as the quality of connection and related services should be considered. Today, the most discussed issue is the availability of the access at an affordable cost and quality. Despite the internet being free, connecting to it is not. In order to connect to the internet, we need an ISP, Internet Service Provider. Internet Service Providers charge a fee. As we can see from this map, prices range from $5.50 to $1,753, with an average of $57 per month. However, these prices are in US dollars, and when we consider that $1 equals 130 rupees, it can be calculated that in fact the prices of broadband can be actually more expensive in Sri Lanka than here in the US. And even here in the US, with an average price of $20 for broadband service, many homes who live in poverty will find this a high price to pay for accessing the internet. Why is it important for our society to have access, but more specifically, quality and affordable access to the internet? Because as most of us know, the internet has revolutionized our world as we know it today. Just like the telephone and later the television, the internet has not only revolutionized the way we communicate, but also how we socialize, educate, work, and shop, to name a few things. Can we imagine what our lives would be without a phone? And I'm not talking about a cell phone, but the actual predecessor to the cell phone, the actual telephone itself. Or what about a world without television? We know today that even in the most remote and economically deprived places, access to a telephone or a television is not unusual. However, at one point these things were more a luxury than a necessity, and despite what we may believe, to many in the world the internet is just that, a luxury. That is why when we refer to the digital divide, we're not only referring to it as being the access to the internet, but the access to information and communication technology. Being able to have access to devices like a computer, a cell phone, and the internet is important, and the consequences of not having the knowledge to operate these digital devices is crucial as well. We all have that grandparent who still does not know how to operate a computer, surf the web, or use a smartphone. Their excuse is understandable. They grew up without this technology. However, because of the cost of this technology, today some people around the world, and even here in the US, are not that different from that grandparent. That is why demographics and socioeconomic differences play a role of on what side of the digital divide we fall under. Some are affected by their age, some by their economic status, and some by both. Despite, as I mentioned before, your grandparents might seem excusable, we should not be satisfied with this and help them educate them on how and why they should use this technology that has revolutionized our society. We should also look for ways to not let economic status limit others to the endless possibilities of a digital revolution. Looking back at how the telephone and television shaped their respective societies when they first came about should help us realize that the digital revolution is having a similar, if not greater, impact on our society today. And as a utilitarian would argue, The importance to lessen the gap between those who have and those who don't have access to the digital technology is vital for our society as a whole.